Chapter 1. The Mountain's Debt and the Phantom Snow. The resort of Glacier's Peak was an opulent tomb cloaked in pristine white. Its slots were marketed as safe, a lie that cost 54 lives annually. But the three men in the footage, Ethan, Marcus, and Ben, were about to learn the mountain demands a debt in blood. The video begins with the exhilarating rush of their speed. Marcus, the most cautious, is wearing the helmet camera. His breathing is ragged, fast. Then, the slope changes. It's not a visible hazard. It's an abrupt, sickening shift in the snow's texture, almost as if the ground itself has betrayed them. Ethan, leading the charge, hits it first. The sound is not of a fall, but of a violent disintegration. His skis fling into the air like discarded bones, and his body becomes a ragdoll against the jagged, unforgiving scree hidden beneath the thin powder. Marcus's camera captures the horrific aftermath. Ethan's leg is a grotesque, pulpy mess, twisted around a splintered sapling. He's silent, eyes wide open, staring at the crystalline sky. Ben, trying to maneuver around the scene, is thrown into the air, the camera showing him spin wildly. He doesn't hit a tree. He lands on a cluster of exposed black granite. The impact generates a noise that Marcus later described to doctors as a wet, percussive thud. Marcus himself crashes last. His vision blacks out for a crucial second. When it returns, he's staring into the snow, inches from his face. He doesn't feel pain, yet, only a terrifying cold. He hears two sounds: Ben's shallow, panicked gasps, and a low, rhythmic grinding that Marcus realized was the sound of Ben attempting to shift his body. His lower back severely damaged. The aftermath. Ethan's recovery took 2 years and 7 surgeries. He now walks with a cane, and the perpetual sensation of phantom cold in his shattered leg. Even on hot days, Ben never walked again. Marcus, physically sound, developed nyvophobia, the fear of snow. He claims that every winter, he hears a faint whisper of wind when he looks at a picture of a mountain. A spectral sound that seems to be calling him back to settle the rest of the mountain's debt. Chapter 2. The perpetual echo on the railway. The set of Midnight Rider felt cursed long before the train arrived. The film crew had ignored multiple warnings about the treacherous location and active railway bridge spanning a dark, sluggish river. The footage from the high-quality crew camera is crucial. It's zoomed in on Sarah Jones, the vibrant 27-year-old assistant camera. Her last words, caught on a boom mic, were a muttered frustration about the director's insistence. This isn't worth it. The sequence plays out with agonizing slowness. The crew rushes to pull the heavy, antique hospital bed from the track. The first low horn of the train is the sound of impending doom. It is not a warning, it is a declaration. The train footage is terrifyingly detached. It shows the frantic, tiny figures scrambling in its path. It doesn't slow down. When it strikes the metal bed, the train doesn't just hit an object, it hits a kinetic anchor. The resulting explosion of energy sends the bed flying. The crew camera footage is the one that kills you. It captures the sudden, almost graceful way the bed becomes a projectile, striking Sarah with the force of a battering ram. The impact is so tremendous that the microphone on her belt picked up a quick, sharp squelch, the sound of her life extinguishing. Then, nothing, just the deafening roar of the train, passing over the camera, obscuring everything in dust and screaming metal. The aftermath, the legal battle focused on negligence, but for the crew members, the haunting persists. Many suffer from a specific auditory hallucination, a distinct 3-chime pattern that mimics the train's horn, appearing moments before a sudden, minor misfortune, a drop plate, a blown tire, a trip step. They believe the energy of Sarah's death, instant and violent, imprinted itself onto the location, and now follows those who survived, a spectre, all reminder of the moment they failed to save her. Chapter 3. The OPM of Fear. Inside the Zorbing orb. The Dimsey ski resort was an ill-managed, poorly maintained facility. The Zorbing path was hazard, leading perilously close to a ravine. Denis, 27, and Vladimir Sherbakov, 33, strapped themselves into the double harness, expecting a thrill. They got a ticket to the abyss. Efren's cell phone footage is shaky, but chillingly clear. The ball wobbles, then, with a sickening lurch, it hits a barely visible, rotten log that acts as an accidental ramp. It launches the orb off the prepared track and sends it plunging down the raw, jagged mountainside. The camera captures the descent. The ball, meant to protect, now acts as a perpetual centrifuge of richer. Every time it strikes a rock, Denis and Vladimir are flung against the dense, plastic membrane. The cell phone footage is layered with the distorted, inhuman shrieks of the two men, their voices pitched high with pain and utter disbelief. The descent lasts nearly 5 agonizing minutes. The ball is filmed hitting a final, massive boulder. It accordion folds slightly before coming to a stop, deflated and crumpled. The aftermath, when rescuers cut them free, the interior of the orb was smeared with blood and bodily fluids. Vladimir was concussed, his face a canvas of deep lacerations. Denis was worse, a spinal cord injury. He died en route to the hospital. Vladimir survived, but the psychological toll was immense. He became obsessed with the sound of a rolling, contained object he cannot stand. The noise of laundry dryers, rolling marbles, or even bowling. He claims that in the darkness, he can hear a faint, hollow, rhythmic thumping, the echo of his own skull being knocked against the plastic sphere, a sound that assures him the ride, the fear, the pain, the disorientation is never truly over. Chapter 4. The Stare of the Unblinking Void. The encounter between Dan and Mark and the black bear on the Machi Town trails was less a random event and more a prolonged psychological siege. They knew the rules. Make yourself big, make noise, don't run. The footage, shaky and visceral, is entirely dialogue and the bear's subtle movements. The men's voices start controlled, but quickly devolve into strained whispers and choked commands. Stay right there. The horror lies in the bear's intelligence and patience. It doesn't charge. It executes a slow, deliberate circle around them, its eyes dark, and blinking pools locked on their most vulnerable points. It is not curiosity. It is pure, predatory assessment. At one point, the bear stops dead, only 10 feet away. It rises slightly on its hind legs, not to attack, but to take a deep, calculating sniff. Dan later recounted that in that moment, he felt the bear wasn't smelling their fear, it was smelling their potential. The standoff lasts 7 minutes. When the bear finally loses interest, it doesn't run. It simply turns and she's without a sound into the dense undergrowth. The aftermath, Dan and Mark resumed their run, a panicked, reckless dash. They survived, but the incident left a permanent psychological scar. Mark developed a debilitating anxiety about open spaces, feeling perpetually exposed. Dan, the one who held the camera, became paranoid about being watched. He claims that whenever he turns his back to an open window or a doorway, he feels a cold pressure on his neck, and he can hear, faintly, the sound of a single, slow, calculating sniff just behind him, a reminder that the predator merely postponed its decision. Chapter 5. The minute that erased everything. The EF for tornado that struck the wealthier suburbs was a textbook example of Mother Nature's ultimate reasoning power. John, the man filming, intended to capture the beautiful terror of the funnel cloud. Instead, he captured a testament to human vulnerability. The initial footage shows the tornado's approach, a massive, swirling black mass against an ominous, green-tinged sky. It's beautiful and terrifying. But John quickly retreats inside, sheltering with Josie. The audio recording of the minute the tornado passes directly overhead is the most chilling evidence. It begins with the wind's roar, then escalates into a noise that defies description, the screaming of oppressive, raised air, the tearing of wood and metal, the implosion of glass. Interspersed with this hellish symphony, John's own choked prayers and Josie's whimpers. Then, an abrupt, dead stillness, broken only by the drip of rain and the heavy, ragged breathing of the survivors. The aftermath. The visuals of the aftermath are stark and unforgiving. When John exits, the world has been vile and lies stripped bare. The houses are gone. The trees are splintered into toothpicks. He focuses the camera on a piece of debris, a child's brightly colored toy, untouched, lying amidst the rubble where a garage once stood. The long-term horror wasn't the property damage, but the absolute absence. The tornado didn't just destroy, it erased. John became obsessed with the notion of vacuum. He now suffers from severe claustrophobia in open spaces, terrified of the invisible, sucking force that almost took him. He claims that on quiet nights, he hears a high-pitched whining sound. In the walls of his newly rebuilt house, the residual shriek of the wind, forever trapped, waiting for the pressure to drop, and the world to be torn apart once more.